Bokeh can add so much beauty to paintings. Here are a few. I was going to say, here are a few pansies. Two are predominant, and then some are in the background. And this is just in a lovely garden setting or flower bed. And notice that I kept a very soft, blurred background behind the main stars of this painting. And these pansies are the ones that are going to draw your eye in with their brightness and their rich colors and their details, and the rest of it is blurred out. You'll notice that I added a few in different sizes bokeh circles. So bokeh is a technique that started with cameras. The word comes from South Korea, where photographers would use a certain setting to get the sparkly circles. And I'm sure you've seen it a million times. It's now used in paintings, and watercolor is perfect for it. So if you want this just kind of beautiful, soft, fairy tale glow behind, there's several things you can do. One is you can add a little bit of sparkle. One of my favorites is this one, Brusho Sprinkle It. And it's a wonderful product. It's just soft little sprinkles. I use a dedicated brush for it so that I don't mix it up. And my dedicated brush is hiding. There we go. It's behind my others. And you can see a little sparkle on it. So what I might do with this is just sprinkle it a few spots that I'm already done with. And then my trusty, it's nice and dry, as you can see. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of water coming from, oh boy, guess what? My granddaughter has my water sprinkler. Hold on. All right, I got it again. So I have a handy dandy water sprayer that has the mist setting. Notice there's just powder right now that you can see a little sprinkle. So I'm just going to mist it gently, just to do two things. One is to seal it in, and the other is to bring it alive. So now that little bit of sheen, it's still wet right now, so you're going to have to wait for that. But it's going to have this sparkle, beautiful feeling to it. You don't want to work it in. You don't want to touch it. You want to just leave it. So while we're waiting for that to dry, let's go ahead and add another bokeh circle. There's several ways to do it, and I've experimented with probably all of them. So the one that I'm going to show you is the very easiest for me. Here's my little card when I was figuring out the colors. I used Schmecka Horadem on this particular painting, and really love the colors. Those of you that have a lot of different watercolor paints are familiar with it. I used Turner Yellow for the centers. I used Cobalt Violet for most of the petals, with just a little bit of Quinn Gold and Ultramarine Blue with it. And then I went to a few other brands. I went to Roman Schmal and did a little bit of their Mineral Violet, and even put a little bit of my Daniel Smith Alizarin Crimson in spots. So that's how I did it. By the way, if you like this painting and like the techniques and the dreamy feel of it, I'd like to suggest that you come and join me in my Patreon site. This painting, along with dozens more, are in real time, and I give you all the hints exactly how to do it from beginning to end in a friendly, kind, helpful manner. No stress, no worry. You can just be painting like crazy. This is in my Painting Adventures tier. It's $15 a month. You can take it for a full month and enjoy dozens and dozens of paintings, scrolling through, watching them, taking notes, or painting along. And then if you want to cancel after a month, do it. By the same token, if you want to continue for 6 more months or 1 more month, there's no long-term commitment. Stay as long as you're enjoying it, and don't. You can see I have a little light coming through because I'm painting in the morning, looking out over my forest. I paint in a cabin in the woods, and that's where my studio is with all my paintings. So maybe I'll go a little closer right now. Things are starting to dry a little bit, and I actually like that shadowed line from my window because it lets you see what the sparkles really look like without the light bleaching them out. So maybe that's a good thing, right? All right, so here's my favorite way to do a bokeh. By the way, this particular class will be up as of Monday, just a couple days from today. By Monday evening, Eastern Standard Time, this class joins all the others. So I like to use templates because circles need to be exact with bokeh. And plus, in general, it's nice to trace circles instead of just guess when you want it to be fairly articulated. This particular one I got at Amazon. It's called BOKEH. Pick it good. It's called BOKEH Circle Master Inking Template. Now, what I like to do with this is I like to put it opposite. It's supposed to sit on these little trowels, these little dots that are raised. And what I like to do is take those dots and put them up instead of down. So instead of it sitting on top, not flush, I like to do it upside down and hold it down so it's very flush. And then I'm going to find some spots. With my bokeh, I love to do a variety of sizes, sometimes even next to each other. You know, here's a medium circle, here's a medium small, here's a fairly large one. They're obviously going to stand out more when you're in a darker area or more vivid area. So why don't we pick this? This is a blurred out effect as if these purple pansies are in a field of other flowers, including pansies. So I'm going to choose that. And I'm going to choose maybe, let me look at other sizes. I think I'm going to choose this size because it's different from these two. It's smaller than this and larger, smaller than this, larger than this. So I'm going to choose this one. And sometimes I'll put it over a spot that doesn't look perfect. Why not? Instead of lifting a section that's just beyond perfection, why not choose a section that's, I like it just okay. So I'm going to my water. I have a water glass right by me that I almost dipped into. Let me take a sip. I know you've done that with water, coffee, tea, wine, right? So I moved it a little bit. So what I do is I use a lifting technique. I'm going to do this circle right here. And so what I do is I take a harsh brush. If you have nothing harsher, I'm pushing off some of the paper that I left on there from my last bokeh. If you have nothing but like say a Princeton snap brush or other acrylic brush that has a lot of snap to it, use that. I love these little cheap brushes. You can buy them in sets like bulk. They're just nothing, they cost nothing, and they're wonderful. And I'll tell you what's good with them. They're so harsh that you can just scrub away on bokeh, but they're also perfect when you want to use masking fluid and not ruin a good brush. They're made for kindergartners, kind of school kids. So let me get big a minute and darker. So I dipped my brush into clean water. I always keep paper towel right next to me just for such an occasion. So I'm tapping off. Boy, the sun must be behind a cloud, huh? Go figure. That's okay. And then I'm going to go in the circle and start lifting. Now, when should you do this? Well, I painted this yesterday. So, you know, it's at least 10, 11, 12 hours since I painted it. And as you can see, it's working just fine. I also sometimes paint and let it surface dry and then lift. as you see, I did it twice so far. Now I have to decide how much I want to lift. I can just keep going and going like the Energizer Bunny and just keep lifting and lifting really high. And you'll see all these little junky pieces. In Dutch, we say kriemeltjes. All these little fuzzy pieces of the paper, the top layer, because I'm using a cold press. No worries. And when they're dry, you just lift them off. Let's go back to one that you can see a little brighter. There you go. All right, there we go. Now the secret to have a clean circle is you're going to, before you lift it, you're going to blot. Don't move anything right now, just blot. And I'm even kind of dusting off the little paper pieces. Then when I get ready to move it, I lift it up carefully and I blot again. And there is a circle. Now that circle is lighter than the others. And I'm glad it is to show you how it works, but it may be a little too light for what I really want. So I might soften it a little bit. By the way, do you see my sparkles? Let me go to a side view. Do you see my sparkles? All in this area, my paper has dried, the water has dried, and it's left just the residue of my Brusho iridescent sparkles just to add to the magic. I have some just lightly all through here so you can see it with the side camera. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do another BOKEH circle just to kind of show you. And I think I might do one more and then we're going to soften this one. Okay. So let's keep the camera on the side. And I'm going to actually do a smaller one. Let me find one that looks kind of cute next to it. I don't want it to look too obviously in the same little league of it, like all in a row or whatever. I don't like patterns. I like it very random and pretty. So here we go. I'm going to the water, tapping off excess, looking at what I want. I'm going to choose this one right here. Once you start on it, it's obvious which one you're doing, but sometimes when you pick your circle, it's like, okay, which one did I want? This time I'm only going to do 2 times. I do want to make sure the edges are done right because that's the whole circle concept. And there we go. That is my second one, and that color is more to my liking. It's a little softer. So I am going to, let me see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bright, 5, 6. And so I need one more. And you know why, don't you? I'm all about, they must be uneven numbers. I know it's silly. I just think they always look better when they're uneven. Your eye loves 3, but second, it loves uneven. So I'm going to add 1, trying to decide where. I don't want it to look like 2, 2 and 2. I might do a small one here, but then it looks diagonal. So I guess this is the winning area. So I'm going to go down just a little bit, checking that it doesn't look like it's a pattern with something else. And I'm going to do a little one right there. Here we go. Now you're an expert at this with me. So many people struggle with this concept. And once you get it, and I'm your guinea pig, I tried every way, every type of brush and every type of style of what's the best way to create bokeh. And there it is. This is the winner, and I'm passing it on to you. That one I did even softer, so it's just kind of blending out. Now I want to show you what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to take just a number 4, and I'm going to take, maybe I'll do my Schminke and stay within that. Isn't this a pretty palette? I'm into palettes lately. I have a wide variety of them. Let me show you my Graham palette. Tell me it's not cool, I dare ya. And of course I can remove this. It's just beautiful. I cement glued this beautiful handmade porcelain flower on top, and I can use that for a million things. I had just now before I moved it, a watercolor eraser. I also have this beautiful one I use for flowers. I love ceramic, porcelain, palettes. And so I will either have them according to like, oh, these are flowers, or this is Graham, or this is Schminkel. And these are Daniel Smith mineral mixing sets. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but let me tell you, they are amazing. And there's the colors. I might cut this out and glue it on or put it close to it. What I did to be clever is I used a permanent marker for each one. This is a pinkish one, so I use that. This is like a grayish one and a greenish one and a purpley pink. So I put markers on it just to remind me, because they really don't look anything like it. So back to this, I'm going to use a watered down version of the Turner's yellow, which is such a vibrant color. Kind of reminds me of nickel azo yellow, cadmium yellow, several of those bright ones. So I'm going to take this, got my Schminkel yellow on, and I'm going to take this and very watery and gently, I am going to tone this one down to be in the yellow family. And I like it so much, I'm considering doing it with one of these two also, just to have a little fun variety. I'm trying to decide. Feels like that by itself might be a little too boring. We don't go for boring around here. So there's the two. I could do it on this too, but you know what? I'm satisfied. And this big one here, if I wanted to make it darker, I could go around the edge of it slightly and make it more prominent, but I think I'm okay. I think I'm going to call it. I did cold press on this, and when I was done, I thought this would have been beautiful on hot press and been very velvety and very smooth. Once again, here's from the side, and here is the front. So you can see this beautiful pansy. Don't we love pansies? You can see this beautiful grouping of God's nature. And aren't we lucky that we get to kind of capture it with our artistic feel to it? I hope you like it as much as I do. And again, consider coming to my Patreon site and seeing what I have. I have 3 areas that are the most popular. One is called Starting Out, which is the basics, can hold your hand from the very beginning. The next one is Blossoming, which gets into more technique, more reference photo use, where Starting Out uses only freehand type of easy things that look beautiful. And then I have Painting Adventures, which this is in, and many other beautiful subjects that we grab. Hope you had fun with me. I had always a good time. And there you go, one last look in different lighting. Take care. God bless your day. Enjoy painting. Till next time.